Hey there! Welcome to the Nuxt Quick Start video. We're going to show you how to connect your Nuxt project to Prepr CMS and make a simple blog app. But before we dive in, you need the latest version of Node installed, a free Prepr account, and make sure you load demo content when you create your environment in Prepr. You can get all the links and the complete repo used in this video in our docs. And, just a heads up, this video only covers the integration to Prepr, so we won't be including any styling. But don't worry, you can check out our complete starter guide for Nuxt if you need those details. In this video, we follow the Nuxt Quick Start guide in our docs. So let's start. We need to create a Nuxt project. Open up your terminal and execute this command. In our case, we are calling our project Prepr Nuxt. When it finishes, this command creates a Nuxt version 3 project. Go to your project root directory. Then do an npm install. Once that's done, do an npm run dev to launch your Nuxt app. Head over to the local host to check out your new Nuxt project. And there you go. Your Nuxt app is now up and running. Let's do a quick test. Go ahead and open up your Nuxt project in your favorite code editor and update the app.view with your own heading. Now, let's go back to the local host. When you refresh the page, you'll see your blog app. Great. Okay, let's move on to the next step and install the Nuxt Apollo client. Why do we need it? Well, we want to connect to Prepr CMS using the GraphQL API, and the Apollo client is a tool that helps us with that. So go back to your code editor and install the Apollo client module for Nuxt with this command. No issues. Great. Now, let's get that Apollo client configured in our project. To do that, we need a new TypeScript file. Let's put it in a folder called Apollo. In this file, add the Prepr config to import and define the Apollo client. Okay, so once that's done, add that Apollo client in our list of modules in the Nuxt config file. Maybe you already noticed. There's a variable in the Apollo client file for the Prepr access token. Let's get it from Prepr. We need to connect to a specific Prepr environment. Log into your Prepr account and grab the access token from the Prepr environment that you want to connect to. Check out our docs on which access token to choose. Let's follow good practice and store the access token in an environment variable. Paste it into the variable we referenced earlier in our Apollo config. All right, we're connected to Prepr. But before we get too excited, let's make sure our config is error-free. Close the server that you started before and execute an npm install command. If there are no errors, do an npm run dev again. And there you have it. We're ready for the next step. So, our blog site is connected to Prepr, but we want to fetch some articles to show on our site. To do that, let's create a query in the project. Create a new folder to store all our queries and put a new file in there. For my blog site, I want to get articles from the Prepr CMS. Let's retrieve an ID, a slug, and a title for each of the articles. Now that our query is done, let's fetch the articles from Prepr and show them in our blog site. To fetch the data, let's go to our main page in app.view and add a script. In this script, we want to do three things. Number 1, import the query that we just created. Number 2, use a predefined method to make the query request. Number 3, put the list of articles from the query results in a variable. Before we display the results on our app, let's output the query results to the terminal. Great, now that the data is being fetched, let's add some HTML to display the list of articles. Now when you go back to your local host, you can see the list of articles. Wonderful. We're almost there. All that's left is to add links and routing and fetch the article details so that we can view a new page with a specific article's details. Let's do that now. First, add links to the article titles on the page. In the link, we use the article slug to identify the new page. When you go back to the local host, you can see the links, but we haven't added any routing, so when you click on it, nothing happens. But take a look at the URL. The slug of the article we clicked is there. To add routing in Nuxt, just make a Pages folder. Then put the main page here. Our main page displays the list of articles. Rename this page to index.view. We want another page to display the details of one article, and we want this routing to be dynamic based on the slug, so this page gets a dynamic name. Next, let's create another query for the article detail. This query gets an article by its slug and returns some text and image content. Once that's done, let's fetch the data we need to show on our new page. So, remember how we got the list of articles? Well, now we add similar code to the article detail page. Just like before, we got a script on this page that imports the query and executes it. In this case, we make sure to set a value for the slug argument when requesting an article. That's why we need some extra code to grab the slug from the URL. Finally, we set a variable to the queried article. So when you look at the HTML, you can see that we display the article title. We also display article content that contains one or more images and text. Now when you go back to the local host and click on an article, you can see a detailed article page. Congratulations! You created a blog app connected to Prepr in under 10 minutes. For more info on what to do next, check out our docs.